So it's the regular meeting of Rundfunk MITBESTIMMEN at Agile Ventures. I just set the timer on 45 minutes, right? We don't want to talk more than 45 minutes. I think it's just the two of us, Smago and me, Robert. Yeah. So I would say let's just do it the usual way. Let's discuss what we did so far, the deployed features, or let's say the features that are about to be deployed, and then have like a small planning slot where we can discuss the upcoming features. Does that sound okay?
Cool.
Margo?
Yep.
You want to start, and maybe you can, if you're visiting our GitHub page, share the screen.
Yeah. So I start to working on this. Actually, it was already 16 days ago. Oh my god! With this materialized view, and I find out that we need one column that have a unique index. So I added a unique index to run it concurrently. So I add this on the ID, and now it's working concurrently.
Nice. That's awesome, because I tried it out without concurrency, and it took well, it wasn't perceivable by the user because you don't see requests being finished. But if you open up the network tab of the browser console, you would see that
it looks like this materialized view have to have a one column that is indexed.
Yeah, in order to be concurrent, exactly. So I thought materialized I thought materialized views would update themselves. That's not the case. You have to update or refresh the materialized views. And if we do that whenever somebody is supporting a broadcast, because that might affect the statistics, then we will have we have to refresh the database view many times. And that's no problem at all, but I just would like to not block the request, so the view can refresh in the background.
The web tier can, to have a
awesome.
web tier free.
Yeah. So
and the other stuff I was doing was with the front end. I'm new to Ember, and I find it a bit strange, but yeah, now I'm getting the picture, so I will refactor to reuse this navigation on the top. So,
yeah.
like also, I see here, you can put this. Probably when you call this, you can put it extra properties in the, and then yeah, it's like React probably. Yeah, you put extra properties in the component, and then we can get it here. Yeah, I will try it like this. I don't know.
Yeah, so
because if not, it's a lot of duplication here.
So regarding the last pull request, I forgot to mention that we're currently not able to merge this pull request because it requires Postgres at least 9.4 on the hoster.
For this, yeah, it requires Postgres plus 9.4, I think.
Exactly. We see a lot of open pull requests there, and I would love to merge this pull request, but this will fail on our hosting service. So I have to update the database. The last time I tried that, it failed because it's not that easy actually.
No, are you run on Amazon or?
No, we have a virtual private server, and the hoster only supports 9.2 by default, and there's a way to update to 9.3. But if you want to update to 9.6, that's also possible. There's a script. You would do it on your own. It's not supported by the hoster, but you can do it. But then you don't get the extensions, like we are using Cytext, the trigrams, and a couple of other extensions, and all those extensions are not accessible. And I haven't found out how to do that. That was the reason why the last migration failed, and I had to work. We had a downtime, so that was my fault. So that's the reason why a couple of pull requests are not merged yet. The second pull request, you always forget to write fix or close in front of the issue number. If you do that in the description, it will be automatically closed.
If I write like this, no.
Open the pull request.
This is how we do in the company, and our Jira actually just figure it out.
Yeah. So on GitHub, you would write it in the description.
No, sorry, I wanted in the commit.
Or that way. So there are many ways how to do that. Either you write it in the commit, or you write it in the description of the pull request. I always write it in the pull request description, usually. Yeah, if you write it in the commit message, possible too. Yeah, if you write there, fix, and then hashtag 369, that will automatically fix the issue or close the issue.
Okay.
Yes, exactly that. You can also click on the issue now, and you will see a small icon indicating that this issue is going to be closed. Yeah. You see this icon below, next to the open label?
This
down
one?
Below? Yeah, on the right side.
This one. Oh, cool.
And if you see that, you did it right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I will know from the next time.
Now,
yeah. This is
the front-end pull request. So the Ember stuff. I can tell you that you can reuse components. So just like that, you can add as many components as you wish. And if you pass in properties, you can do it like that. You write the name of the property equals, and then whatever you want to pass into the component. Similar to React, you can also pass in callbacks like that. And you don't necessarily need to declare those properties in the component. So can you share your screen once again? Yeah, show the code maybe. Yeah, so below, just the first file, that's all right.
This is like a controller. Like the logic, it's here.
That's a component.
This part for me, it's very. Yeah, because in React is
So
you have mixed HTML
in Ember,
and this one,
In React, the template and the component, the logic, goes into one file. In Ember, you have two files. One for the template only, the HTML part, and the behavior in another file. And that's this one here. Like This is the component for footer navigation, and you can you can declare properties, you can declare methods, and you can declare actions. And the property in that case would be, for example, class names.
This
also
method,
can step forward. Yeah, that's actually also a so-called computed property, right? So in that case, can step forward and can step backward depend on another property called step.
Yeah.
You see it in line number 12. That one, exactly. Right. So if you put the name of the property there, exactly, that means, okay, it depends on those properties. You can also have more than one. And whenever those properties change, the computed property, which is called can step backward, is recomputed.
But this is, yeah, this was like can step.
Yeah, exactly. It refers.
Where it get a step?
So the step,
like this input.
Yeah. So I think the step is initialized in the template. I'm not quite sure. But if you click on next, that's
this one.
Yeah.
And this is like automatically be injected in the
exactly. So you don't necessarily have to declare those properties. If you just pass them in, that's fine. You should just not access those properties with this get property name and do something with it if that can be nil. Like for any property that you didn't declare and you didn't pass it in, if you access it like with this get step, you will get a nil or a null as a result. And that can
if you don't put this page.
Yeah, then you would get a null except I don't know if you would get an exception, but
undefined.
Yeah, so depends what can step backwards, for example, does. So it's a comparison null greater than 1, and I think JavaScript doesn't crash. It will just that will be just null. Yeah, but you have to consider that.
So if I want to function, actually I have to put this ember.computed, and this will be a parameter of my function, this function here.
You can just write functions just like that. You don't have to write it like Ember computed. Ember computed is a helper, and it will give you a property that will be automatically refreshed when in this case step changes. So you see this action back, and there's this get step is decremented. Oh.
And when the property is changed, it will automatically trigger this function here.
Yeah.
And this is how I can add multiple.
Right. So
cool.
Can step backward just depends on step, because you just go back. The step is the current step. So this current step is larger than 1. You can go back, right?
So yeah, this just a second. This Ember computed is just a wrapper that like a trigger a dispatch when this properties is changed.
Exactly.
And so cool. Yeah, nice.
And you can just pass in any kind of property. There are a couple of properties that have special names like tag name or classes or class. Those properties, like the property class, will automatically be the CSS class. So, no, class name. Sorry, it's called class names. It's up. It's just there. So it will have
class names.
Exactly, it's an array, and you can pass in as many class names you want, and they will be.
But this is like a property that have to be set in Ember component, or
no. That's so you assign a default here.
Yeah.
All the other properties would be just nil. So the comment I added to the pull request was, if you scroll down, you see my suggestions, like extra CSS classes. Extra CSS classes is just a random name. You can call it whatever you like.
Yeah.
It will be nil by default, because if you don't pass it in, it's just nil. But if you say extra CSS class mobile only, it has a value, in this case a string. And since strings resolve to true, if you
you can check it in the
clause, you can also do the second suggestion, if mobile only. Yeah, so first of all, you can just put it in. The first suggestion is just to give a string that will be added to the CSS class, right? So you see class, like basic statement, and then mobile only grid, and that means it will only be visible on mobiles. If you don't set extra CSS class, extra CSS classes will resolve to nil. That will resolve to empty string, and everything is just fine.
No, but probably it's cool that I have this, and then like check if something is passed in that like do not display this. We have this heart and between the tabs, between the buttons on the top navigation.
So I think the idea of the original issue was you display a menu on the bottom only on mobile devices.
Yeah.
You could just use that.
Okay, cool.
Another way how to do one-line if clauses is this if mobile only and then parameter thing. So the syntax is if. So handlebars, the template language allows you to write.
It's like.
Yeah, exactly. You can add a second parameter after mobile only, and that would be the else case.
And I add like double double quote, not double quote, how it's called this. I write it like what is the delimiter like?
So in JavaScript, that would be if mobile only, return if variable mobile only, return string mobile space only, else return nil. In that case, if you add in a second parameter, that would be else return that second parameter. It's kind of handy, especially for any kind of CSS, for example. If you just want to have one-liner to add one more CSS class in a particular case, whatever.
Cool. And if I have some data in the component, like this is existing Ember, or like, I don't know, some state that, an example, like some toggle or something like that.
Yeah, you can pass in anything you want. You can have state, you can have arbitrary big objects. For example, the choropleth map, the map of Germany, has the entire JSON, the entire GeoJSON as property passed in. And you can also add callbacks. So you can, for example, browse is a callback. You see on line 20, yeah. On line 20, you can see that browse is a callback. So you say this get browse, and that will be a function. Then you have
I see.
right?
Nice.
This callback is passed from above. It comes from a controller. So the controller defines what should happen and passes this callback just down to the component. Browse action, browse.
This action browse, and like this is some keyword?
Yeah, that's a keyword. Or... Action browse means that's the name of the method in the action, in the actions list of. You have these actions in the component and also in the controller. The file that you just opened also had some actions. It is choose anything you like. Yeah, for example, find broadcast. So there are many properties, as you can see, and there's actions. And action, well, if you see in the template, action, the syntax parentheses action and the name of the action, it will resolve to one of those methods. So here you can see what browse actually means. So browse expects a step, and then it will, what is it actually doing? So it checks. So it first of all, it checks if any of the votes are still in the is loading state. That is, some requests did not succeed. That's just a way of avoiding a certain error. And then it gets more interesting. This get model broadcast, so that the broadcast, and you can see those 6 broadcasts usually. Oh yeah, so when you browse, you create votes. You create neutral votes here, so we can track what broadcasts have been visible to people. That's why the impressions called impressions, not votes, because we not only track if people say, I want to support it, but we also track if people don't want to support it because they clicked on next. Just as an example. So, but this is how you pass in callbacks into components.
Cool.
And last but not least, you probably ask yourself, why on earth do I just have to add mobile only, and then it's just invisible on laptops, right?
Yeah.
So we are using a particular CSS framework. It's called Semantic UI. Maybe you can Google that.
I already did it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You see all the predefined objects, or well, the predefined behavior on the left side. So Semantic UI is a CSS framework similar to Bootstrap. What are the others called? There's one which is also particular Foundation. Bootstrap Foundation, Materialize CSS, and Semantic UI. And Semantic UI is unique that it tries to let you write human readable CSS. Something like
class names,
primary button. And these CSS classes, they all go together, and they have a meaning if they stand together and if they are in order. And that's the trick behind Semantic UI. And I think I like it.
Yeah.
And so this mobile only thing is explained under grid. So if you search on the left column for grid, yeah. So if you scroll down, you will see it on the left side. There it is.
Yeah.
And this is a very, very important part of the documentation, because it took me a while to figure it out, but now it feels very intuitive to me. So whenever you want to align something in either way, this will be probably the most important page for you. And you can also, first of all, you can define how large certain elements should be. So the grid is, in Semantic UI, you have 16 columns of the entire display. And so sometimes you want to show an element which is 8 wide, that would be half of the screen on laptops, but it should be 16 wide on mobiles, so the entire screen. And then you can say 16 wide laptop, 8 wide mobile grid or something, whatever. That will work. You can also say tablet and computer only, and then it will only be visible on tablets or computers. And in our case, I think tablet is, so for Semantic UI, tablet means 768 pixels. So anything, if you reach that border, you will have this, the page will be different because you will see elements that are only on tablets. And I don't know how much is mobile, but it will be smaller than that, obviously. It is explained somewhere. I think it's explained on, you have another tab. If you scroll at the very top,
this
definition. Yeah, it should be there.
And it is Flexbox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can always click on View Source if you want just to copy paste something.
But under the hood, it's using Flexbox, yeah.
Yeah, it's using Flexbox, yeah.
Nice.
So what margins or borders they have
for the
yeah, well, anyhow, maybe we can just show an example. If you visit Rundfunk MITBESTIMMEN for now, you can see it in action already. I added another pull request where I also worked on this navigation component and made sure that it stacks nicely on mobile devices. So on mobile devices, everything was just on top of each other, just stacked, which is not very nice because the next button is at the very top, the back button is below. Better would be if you put it on
the broadcast.
Yeah, you have to log in again.
Yeah.
So that's another issue, by the way. There's no session expiration. So once you log in, you're logged in entirely, but auth0 will eventually log you out. And that happens on the first backend request. It would be better if the session expires and you get a warning and then you're logged out. So for example, when you visit the page a day later, then you should not be logged in, right?
Yep.
So now you have the navigation. No, it's find broadcasts. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So back and next are now on one row, and you have this button distribute budget. If you increase the width of this thing, boom. Now the distribute button is in the center, and actually it's the same component rendered twice. Just one of those components is in this first row, which is now invisible because you increase the screen size being above mobile size. And now the component in the center is visible.
I see here. You have two components, and one is mobile only. And
yeah. So if you can see 3 white computer, 4 white tablet, 8 white mobile. So 8 white is half of the screen. So on mobile, the back button and the next button make half of the screen. Right? So 8 white mobile refers to mobile. 4 white tablet, only 4 white for tablet, and so on. And 3 white on computer, large screens. And you have this thing in the middle, and it says computer only column. So this column will be invisible. And that's important because you already have 8 on the neighboring columns, and there will be no space left for the one in the middle. But that's invisible anyway, so that's okay.
I see, yeah. And on the mobile, it's triggered this one. Yeah, cool.
And that's the trick here.
Nice.
Yeah, if you want, you can basically, I think, for this issue, I think you can just copy paste the navigation component and make it mobile only, right? So you have the navigation on the bottom of the page on mobile devices too. That would be one option. You can think what if you want to have the distribute budget button as well on the bottom. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Probably not. I don't know.
I wouldn't mind if it's also on the bottom of the page. I mean, it's very important that people visit the page where they can distribute their budget, right? Because if they don't get there, the system will not distribute the budget evenly. Sorry. It will just be null. Like the amount will be nil. So it's not too bad if you make this distribute budget button more prominent or show it twice. No problem. By the way, what do you say about this the label next to distribute budget? So I removed the description. It said 0 recently supported broadcasts. That is now gone. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a good idea to remove it?
Typically, I don't know, at least a title, then that it's, I don't know. Because like in our application that we work Synode, we also have such, like, we employed this user experience guy, and yeah, he said like big no to like the symbols, like, or at least have a title. It's like when hover, it's popping up.
Yeah.
This pop over. I don't know, because like the visitor, like when come to the page, he will not know why is this, why the heart is, or some other symbol, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, this is very, very generic, but this is what I like. Or
yeah, no. It's actually those broadcasts that you supported and on which you don't have distributed your budget yet, right? So if you click now on support, it will increase. Now you can also click on that button, distribute budget, if you and now this will be your budget will be distributed evenly. So all your €17.50 will go to that broadcast now. You just send a request to the backend, but that only happens on this page, and that's the reason why it's actually important to bring people there. Like, they should see this button, distribute budget, and they should get to that page eventually. Right? If you go now to find broadcast again, it is 0 again, and still you have supported Frag doch mal die Maus, but you distributed your budget already on that broadcast, right? So do you see?
Yeah, so probably, yeah, it would be okay to put it.
And if you unsupport Frag doch mal die Maus, and then support it again, the budget is gone, like it's cleared, like it doesn't save. If you unsupport it, the previously distributed amount will be removed.
Cool.
Yeah, I was thinking about it is. I mean, writing, like, I think the pop-up or the hover thing is a good thing, at least on computers. Just to explain.
Yeah, on mobile, it's like
Well, it's 10 minutes, and I would like to explain a little bit about the future, like the upcoming issues. So I will go to share my screen now. Yep, that's all right. You see something? You see something, Smago? Smago?
Yep.
Ah, do you see my screen?
Yeah, I see.
All right. So I would actually like to merge those pull requests here. We have a lot of pull requests which I haven't merged for various reasons. So there are 2 pull requests which are blocked because we need a certain version of the database on our server. So this one here, as I just said, requires version 9.4 of Postgres on our server. This one here requires version 9.3 at the minimum. And I also, there are a couple of issues with Chrono model. But the good story, or the good news, is that I started to contribute on that GAM. So yesterday I submitted this pull request, and the maintainer,
active.
He actually, apparently he liked it, and he started from that. So the problem with this GAM is, I think we can definitely demerge it, and we can definitely use it, even though it's a large GAM that adds more complexity. Like it hooks into Postgres, the Postgres adapter, right? It's kind of a big decision to merge it in, but I think we can definitely do it. Problem here was just like they don't have software tests for something like migrations or the schema dumper, and there were a couple of issues I reported that all have to do with parts of the code which are not tested or which are just manually tested. So definitely when this issue here is resolved, which will be as soon as this pull request is merged, we can, and the version of our Postgres is on 9.3, we can definitely merge that pull request here by.
But did Gem, what is the purpose of this Chrono model?
Oh, right. So this is for temporal tables.
For the temporal tables.
Yeah.
And it's like a wrapper around Postgres temporal tables. So.
Yeah, exactly. So this pull request is already using this GAM, and I can show you how it looks like. So you can, for example, say, So you can, for example, say impression history at time, and that will give you a table of the state of this table at a certain time.
Wow. Nice.
In the past.
Cool.
That's pretty neat.
And like from the timestamp or how? Yeah.
It has two columns, valid from and valid to. And whenever you draw, if you, for example, update a record, it will create a new entry in the history table, and adds, well, it updates one row. It updates the valid to the current timestamp, and it will add another row which has a valid from of the current timestamp and a valid to of nil. That means indefinitely. So and that way you can query the table and get the records at a certain time, and that's really nice because we can make those line diagrams, right?
Yep.
So nice. Apart from those two things, I think the pull request is more or less ready, but we cannot merge it yet. Then there's another thing. I would definitely like to merge this one here. So it is this issue here, like it's our application shows you a login window as soon as you visit this website here, and that's not good user experience. And Will and I, we worked on that together, but we haven't finished. And I would definitely, there are a couple of things missing. It's also just Ember that needs to be done. So if you want to work with Ember a little bit more, you can just take up that pull request if you want to.
Okay.
It's very straightforward, and I know exactly what needs to be done. It's not it's not much that needs to be done anymore. So there are also some tests that are failing, and I think when those tests are resolved, the pull request is basically ready. Oh, that was the wrong one. Oops. Then another pull request yet to be merged is set up Ember fastboot. Have you heard about fastboot so far, Smuggle?
No, I didn't.
You didn't. So Ember fastboot, Ember fastboot is a way of doing server-side rendering for single-page apps. Why, you may ask?
Yeah, why? I don't understand, They say, like, before server-side is bad, and now they're going back to server-side.
I can give you a very easy explanation.
Yeah, the first load is faster.
Exactly. So
it's the data, it's populated stuff.
Before you see anything, it takes, I have a good connection, it takes 4 seconds already, and that's a long time. And it's because you need to download all the JavaScript and HTML to render it on your browser. It takes a long time. Also, if you have web crawlers who cannot do JavaScript, it's bad because they will not index your site. And you have, let's say, mobile devices with a low bandwidth and then will take even longer, or just any kind of browser that's not able to do JavaScript. So React, Angular, and Ember have so-called, I think it's the pattern is called isomorphic code that runs on both server and the front end, the server and the browser. And Ember is just kind of rendering the page and sends the HTML straight to your browser, and also sends the JavaScript to your browser. And when all the JavaScript is downloaded, it will take over. And from then on, it's the front end side. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So, and that's another very important thing. And I asked, we have 2 plugins that are not Ember fastboot compatible. And we have a little bit of code that needs to be addressed. So, for example, okay, so that was 45 minutes. So I will just finish after I explained that one. Anything that goes to window, for example, or document or navigator is not fastboot compatible for obvious reasons. Right?
Yeah, this is compiled in Node. Yeah.
Yeah, it's running on Node.
Yeah, running on Node. Yeah. Yes.
So that's a problem, but we can. That's actually very easy in that case. More problematic is that we use plugins that are not fastboot compatible, and I kind of identified those, and those plugins are Ember Data Factory Guy. Ember Data Factory Guy is already fastboot compatible because I asked him. It's I annoyed this guy so much until he basically implemented it. Yeah, I had a nice conversation with him, and finally he made it compatible. So that was the most recent version. So there's one plugin left, and this plugin is actually very essential. It's our authentication, Auth0. So this thing here, if you say login, this window comes from a plugin, and this plugin is not fastboot compatible. And I will probably help out to make this plugin fastboot compatible as well. It's what I'm going to do probably when the other pull requests, like the pull requests regarding chrono model or materialized views, are merged into master. Right?
Yep.
So all those pull requests are like almost done, but not yet. And yeah, so if you want to work with Ember more, we can, for example, do pair programming, and can work together.
I would love to. Yeah.
Cool. I would say, how about doing pair programming on this closable login thing? Do you need help on the component, on the pull request, the last pull request for the navigation component, or is it?
No. Yeah, is it clear now? Like.
Right. Awesome. I also think that people who will watch this video later on can learn something about Ember.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
So let's just do that. I will text you on Slack. Do pair programming, and I'll just work on. I will wait for the updates regarding chrono model.
So around this week or
whatever you like. So my current schedule is like I have time on Sunday, and I have time on tomorrow and the day after tomorrow during noon. You have a job, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we have I have in the evening. I don't have that much time. But I said also in the doodle I have time actually past 9 p.m. So if you want to, we can also do some pair programming tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, late in the evening. That is 9 o'clock.
Yeah, in our time zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I will let you know tomorrow during the day.
Awesome.
I will check it out for tomorrow at 9.
Good.
Okay. Cool.
Right. Let's call it a day.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here, Smago.
Yeah. Thank you for your explanation and teaching.
No problem.
Okay.
Good evening. Good night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.